It's puck time, and I'm the Prez. It's Friday, last show of the week. St. Louis hosting San Jose, and we've got Carmine Bianco with us and Andrew McInnis from sportsmemo.com. Carm, I go to you first, my brother. How are you? What's going on? And I'm seeing you tonight.
Yeah, man. Our buddy's birthday tonight, so Barbarian Steakhouse, man. Meat is good. There's no vegans here. I'm good, man. I'm feeling good. Boston closed it out, man. What a job they did last night. I'm pretty happy because, not to tell my own horn, but I went 4-0 in that series. Two of them were puck line plays on Boston at big prices. Boston to close it out, and of course, my 5% total. So hopefully I can continue tonight, man. I've got a big play in the San Jose St. Louis game.
Excellent. And Andrew, I know you played Boston yesterday, and you also told people to take Boston on the puck line. You had a great night as well.
Yeah, it was, Prez. It went really well. It was nice to get the puck line winner as well. Couldn't believe that price we were getting there, Prez. But happy to cash that ticket for the Bruins to win the East. And maybe we'll be able to sort things out over some beers or however you'd like to celebrate, Prez, when I'm in Toronto next. But look forward to that. And yeah, it's a long weekend here, so I'm heading out to a cottage actually this evening. Looking forward to that. But this game tonight, guys, should be great because, as we know, it's kind of a controversy type ending to the last game between the Blues and the Sharks. So looking forward to hearing what you guys have to say about this game here tonight.
Well, I'll tell you flat out, I am 4-0 on the St. Louis San Jose series. I did not play last night. I gave up. Wasn't doing well in that series, unlike you boys. And look, I mean, from my perspective, I think the game was real tough. The loss was real tough for St. Louis last game. The thing about it is, who's to say they wouldn't have lost the game? I don't think the goal should have counted. There is a clause in the rule book. I don't know, 318B. I don't know. I just made that up. But there is a clause in the rule book that does actually allow all goals to be reviewed. They didn't use that clause when in the Boston series when it went off of the netting behind. So they decided not to use it again to keep it consistent. But it was a bad goal, and I think it's going to actually haunt San Jose. I think St. Louis is going to really rally around that. They should have won the game in regulation. And I'm taking St. Louis. And I also, again, am going back to the well, and I like the over. It's gone over all three games so far, and I see no reason why not to bet it again. We're still getting 5.5 with a small number. So, yeah, I like St. Louis and the over. Andrew, what do you think?
As far as the total goes, guys, I just don't get why we're not seeing a 6. I just don't understand why it hasn't been changed yet. You look at the pace of play, not only the fact we've been seeing the goals, but the pace of play in this series has been outstanding. I knew coming into the playoffs, the Sharks team would be quite a bit of an over team, and you've touched on it quite a bit on just how the pace of the defensemen jumping into the rush, how they love to join in and be that, fourth forward and jump into the rush and play with them. And I think St. Louis has adapted to that play style as well. They feel like that if they're going to be successful, they're going to have to pick up their speed as well, and they've kind of jumped into that type of game. So the fact that we're seeing that a 5.5 number here, that jumps out at me right away. We've been seeing goals at a consistent level here. But as the series progresses, guys, I'm going to be looking at, the fatigue factor and, maybe things slowing down from the start, but really picking up late in the game. And I know we're laying a decent price here with this, guys, but this is a play I want to give out on the video here with the third period over 1.5 goals. It is around, minus 155, 160. But I truly do think that as we saw a lot of goal explosions in the first and second last game, I think in the third period we'll see a lot more action here, and we'll see, one team down, trying to fight for their lives and, stuff like that. So as the game progresses, I think we get more goals here tonight.
Carm, did you listen to the player interviews about that goal? The best one was Joe Thornton. Smile on his face. He goes, it was a goal, game 4.
Yeah, no, and that's the thing. And St. Louis to a man, you're talking to them, you talk to them, and they're like, let's just forget about this and sort of move on. you look at it two ways. You either use it as you're really supposed to look at it two ways. You either use it as a rallying cry and you take a little extra into the game, or you let it just beat you down and it sort of carries over into the next game. It doesn't look like the Blues are doing either one of those. They're just sort of, let's just forget about it. I really think they've been the better team the last two games in this series. And like you said, anything could have happened in overtime. They really should have closed it out game three and not send it to overtime. There was a missed empty net. There's a lot of stuff that happened. But, I still think St. Louis has been the better team in this series. That is shaky game one. And we talked about the numbers before this series started, which I thought was kind of unique in this whole San Jose zigzag type of thing. Odd number games. They were 8-1 coming into this series. They're now 10-1. Odd number games with an 18 goal differential from 14. And in even number games, they came in at 1-6 minus 13. They're now 1-7 minus 15. Tonight's an even number game. Let's not base your handicapping on evens and odds, right? It's really weird, but it's just weird how some things take on a life of their own. I think the Blues, like I said, I think the Blues have been the better team. The odd thing is, I've been monitoring some of the action on the total here, and there's been one sharp account in specific that is on the under tonight. So, which is a little interesting because there's nothing you've seen in the last few games that would tell you that this is going to stay under.
Well, it's a straight counterintuitive play, which does work from time to time, and clearly that sharp account wasn't mine. But yeah, look, the odds and evens thing, there's really nothing to it, but the bottom line is it's more the zigzag notion and where it seems to have happened. Had they have, if they win game one and lose game two and so on and so forth, had they have lost game one, they would have won game two and the whole thing would have been in reverse. So, but it is interesting because the zigzag is clearly in effect with San Jose and their games and also with St. Louis. I mean, if you go back and look, I don't know if it's odds or evens with St. Louis, but this is a team I remember against Winnipeg, win one, lose one, win one. They have won a couple in a row at times, but I'll tell you the other thing is, and you listen to the coach for San Jose, and San Jose's pretty pissed too about that goal in the sense that they're being called lucky and et cetera, and they're sitting there thinking, hey man, we were in overtime on the road in game 3 and we're lucky. They also point out correctly so. The fourth goal, I think it was scored by St. Louis. The guy should have been in the penalty box. Clearly blatant missed call by the refs. As well, there should have been another penalty with the puck being shot over the boards from the Blues' end. This stuff happens game in and game out, as San Jose talks about it. It just showed very badly because it was a game-winning goal in overtime.
Yeah, and I know what he's talking about. What I was going to say about Berube is Berube's turned this. Berube has a way of getting this Blues team to play their best game when they need to, and he understands, much like the San Jose coach, what breaks within a game. Every game has them. It's always the last one that decides a game that people will always talk about. It's similar in every other sport. Penalties within a game.
Well, nothing is
the last one that's called or not called. Case in point, obviously, the Saints, right? So
yeah, nothing is worse than in basketball, though. And with that said, Marco and I are talking basketball today, NBA on Morning Joe and the Pro. Make sure to watch that. And guys, first pitch today, probably one of the best shows we're going to do for a while. I haven't done it yet, but I'm just thinking it will be because I got Brian Leonard on and Dave Koken, and we're going to talk a little theory today. We're going to actually go deep into how both of those guys come up with their picks. And Dave is great in baseball. I'm great in baseball. Marco is great in baseball. Tony Finn is great in baseball. Carmine is really good in baseball. I don't know anything about your baseball, Andrew. But I'll tell you, Brian Leonard is in a different league in baseball. Yeah, Carm?
I did want to say I watched a Monday video. It was just you and Brian Leonard. It was like a 30-minute video. And if you're serious about betting baseball, those are the type of videos you got to watch. You just can't blindly look at numbers online, look at pitching records. You've got to listen to what was discussed in that show. Brian has such an astute mind.
Yeah.
He's such a great guy, and he does well. And this is why these guys do well. You know what I mean? He's a definite follow. That's a great video. And the first pitch, to guys out there who are watching this hockey one, you got to watch first pitch.
Yeah. And I'll say this right now. People use the phrase in business world or sports or whatever, being a student of the game. And certain people don't feel like they have to watch all kinds of shows because they feel like they know everything already. I'll watch First Pitch quite a bit. I'll watch, Morning Joe and the Pro. I'll watch different other shows because you always want to be learning. You always want to be learning more and taking more information in. And that's why I check out the show. It's a great stuff. I mean, it's great back and forth too, but Prez is always good for that, but they also do talk, sports and stuff like that. I did want to say, though, Carm, you were talking about how you thought that St. Louis had the better game in that contest. And the interesting thing about that was they were down 2-0 after the first, and they outscored the Sharks 4-1 in the second period. So that's a really good, talent to have, to really be able to just forget about that first period, go out there and play a brand new period. And guys, we've seen an average combined of 8 goals in the first 3 games of this series, but yet the odds makers haven't adjusted. I mean, you guys have been in this business a really long time. Why is that not adjusted at all?
You know the answer, brother. Carmine mentioned it. Some big sharp guy is on the under. The line goes where the money goes.
I think, listen, it's been at 5.5. You generally need, and this is the thing I always think, you generally need 2 teams, that will score goals and will sort of allow goals. The thing here is, and hopefully I'm making sense, is St. Louis is the kind of team that can completely shut you down. Dallas is the kind of team that can completely shut you down. So when you have teams like this, you've got to put it at 5.5, because then and only then are books going to get the right amount of action on the over and the under in order to balance their books.
Exactly. It's straightforward math. Guys, we got to run. We'll see you all next week. Have an incredible weekend. Carm, steak and Caesar salad at Barbarians tonight. Can't wait to see you. Boys, be good, and we'll talk to you all later.
See you guys.